everyone, I'm Carolyn Meyer. Welcome to TommieMedia's The Locker Room. The MIAC's toughest run defense collides with the conference's best rushing attack Saturday as 6th-ranked St. Thomas hosts 20th-ranked Concordia Moorhead for homecoming. The Tommies and the Cobbers enter Week 6 holding the 1 and 2 spot in the MIAC. Linebacker Dylan Andrew recorded 8 tackles while leading a defense that limited Augsburg to negative 26 rushing yards. Kicker Bryan Steinsapir has been automatic this season, completing 14 of 14 extra point attempts and both field goal attempts. I'm joined this week by football coach Glenn Caruso, Dylan Andrew, and Bryan Steinsapir. Thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here with you.
So, Coach, last year the Concordia game was arguably the toughest game of the regular season, and this year's matchup looks to be similar. How has last year's narrow victory helped in this week's preparation?
I don't think we really reflected too much to this point on last year's game or how it ended. I do think what's neat about when two really good teams like these two get together, our guys are able to find different ways to win. And I've said for many years that a dynamic team is not one based on stats, but one that can find different ways to win. Last year's was obviously very dramatic with how it finished, but whether we get out to a good start or a bad start, we always seem to finish pretty well, and that's what we hang our hat on.
And that talks a lot about your team's goals and effort during the game, that they can come back like that.
I think it does. I think it's a cultural philosophy that if it gets off to a really good start, great, put it behind us, move forward. If it gets off to a really bad start, great, put it behind us and move forward. We'll deal with it when the clock hits zeros. And case in point, last year when there was 29 seconds left, our players were saying, relax, there's time on the clock, just get to work. But certainly our focus is more on trying to play well so that we have better opportunities to do things we want to do than we did last year.
Absolutely. And Dylan, over the last 2 weeks, the Tommie defense has held opposing offenses to an average of negative 13 rushing yards. This week you are up against the MIAC's lead rusher in Chad Johnson. How do you stop him in the Concordia rush-heavy offense?
Well, it's going to be important to be very assignment sound. They're going to be a team that's okay with getting 2 or 3 yards at a time running the football. They'll run the ball every play if they have to. So it's not always going to be glamorous. We're going to have to do our job. Sometimes that means tackling a guy that doesn't even have the football. But we have to trust our brothers. They're going to be in the right spot, and it'll be a fun opportunity for us. Looking forward to it.
And Bryan, the special teams unit has had several major miscues in the last 5 weeks. Given your reliability, how can you help lead the rest of the unit to sound, consistent play?
All I can worry about is doing my job to the best of my ability and focusing on the next gig and giving it my all to help the team the best way I can.
Perfect. And lastly, Coach, at Augsburg, the Tommie offense played one of the most cohesive games as a unit this season. How do you continue to improve while taking on a much tougher defense, which has allowed the second fewest points scored in the MIAC?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of components to that, but I do think when you look at some of our best units offensively or defensively throughout the years, it seems like we grow into roles and identities. And I've said it for years, you don't just open a box up on game one and that's what you have. And if you do, then you're not going to grow the way you need to. And they're starting on the offensive side to find their identities, converting on third downs, finishing in the red zone, which is very important. But this week, certainly a whole different task. Different defense, very tough defense. They do a really nice job, and we're going to have to be a little bit more diligent than we have been each of our prior 5 games.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
And now it's time for this week's fan question. In light of Family Weekend, senior Chelsea Aiken was wondering, why is the aspect of family important to incorporate into a team dynamic? We'll start with Bryan.
Well, I mean, you hear it in a lot of teams, and if you care for your teammates as if they're your brothers, you're going to give everything to protect them and fight with them for a common goal. So I think it's very important that we do that.
And I would say it's really important just for the ups and downs, whether it's in life. Obviously, you lean on your family, your actual family, or it's in football and it's your brothers who you're playing with every day. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but you have to be there to lean on people, and you have to be there for other people when the times get hard. So that's a crucial aspect of what we do here, and it's part of why we've grown to be where we're at right now.
Coach, do you have anything to include?
I think what they said is great. We all choose certain communities to be a part of, and I think family is very simply not necessarily the family you're born into. We understand that, but it's when you decide to put yourself second for the needs of someone else, I think that's a community that you see us play with, and I'm really proud of that. These guys embody so many great things. Some of them are physical, most of them are emotional, and I love the way that they play for each other.
Nicely stated, Coach.
Yep.
If you have a question, tweet it to @TommieMedia. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to the game this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to check TommieMedia.com for all your game day coverage. Thanks for joining us. With Coach Caruso, Dylan Andrew, and Bryan Steinsapir, I'm Carolyn Meyer. We'll see you next time in The Locker Room.